Starting with employment-based options. Friends, welcome to Green Card Guys TV. I'm your host, John Ting, and I practice immigration law in the United States. And we have a physical office in Houston, Texas. We are not a virtual law firm, although we do have team members that work across the United States. Okay, so we're here to answer any questions. If you do have a question or you want to share your experience, please drop it down in the comment section. We're happy to share it with others. And in fact, if you actually maybe know an answer that someone else asked, you're welcome to drop it in the comment section as well. We appreciate the assistance on that. All right, so here's top 3 tips related to sponsorship from companies. So you could be an HR professional, you could be an entrepreneur, or you could be a foreign national listening to these tips. And the first thing, okay, to share with y'all is that even if your candidate, your potential employee, your prospective employee is about to graduate, so has not graduated from university quite yet, but is about to graduate in May, for example, that's okay. That person or the company can still sponsor or register, per se, register for H-1B. Okay. You don't actually have to have, it's not a requirement that you have graduated by the time you register, which is in a couple weeks. It's very soon. Okay. Very, very soon. So you want to get on top of it. It's the first week of March, the first 2 weeks of March. Um, and the window period closes. Okay. And then the earliest you can find out, latest you can find out if you got selected is March 31st. Okay. And you might be wondering, well, how is that possible that a person doesn't have to have actually graduated quite yet? And that's because the first several years ago, the process changed hypothetically to be better for everyone in the sense that companies didn't have to pay an attorney. At least we do it differently. We don't ask employers or companies to pay us everything up front because back then, several years ago, attorneys had to prepare the entire package like as if someone was selected in the lottery already. But so they made it maybe unintentionally easier in that sense, I think, for companies and employers that um, you first see if you get selected. Then, if selected, then for our team, we ask the company client to upgrade, for example, from light plan to pro or max. Okay. So we make it very easy and in terms of for companies. All right. So that's the first tip. Now, you guys are welcome to, if you, some of you don't care about H-1B and employment based sponsorship, no worries. But maybe if you have a sibling that's outside America and has a degree, this could be helpful for them. Because the thing is, get sponsored by your sibling or you sponsor, you file a petition on behalf of your sibling, generally that's taking about 17 freaking years minimum. All right. Just in general. All right. So that's something to consider. Now, the second thing that you need to know about H-1B is that yes, there's about 20,000 visas. I believe that's the number. 20,000 visas only for people who have what they call master's degree. Of course, master's. I was thinking advanced. That's what they call it, advanced. But master's degree. However, that master's degree has to have been in the United States. It cannot be abroad. Now, let's say you don't have a master. Let's say you do have a master's, but you're like, okay, well, let's not notify USCIS that you're trying to apply for that exception. All right, for that the 20,000 visas just for master's degree. Then, even if you have a bachelor's, that's great. If you have 2 degrees, that's great. But your bachelor's does not have to have been from a United States university or college. That can be abroad. Okay, fortunately. So that's tip number 2. Now, tip number 3, folks, okay? Tip number 3 is if you're an employer or HR, you really got to get your act together because you need to know this. And it takes a lot of time in terms of the back and forth. And you'll probably wonder, like, man, why is this immigration law firm contacting me so much? I already gave them the job description. I thought that was enough. I totally get it. You think it's just like any other job. It's different when it comes to immigration because typically companies in America, from what I've seen, is that y'all put your preferred qualification. your preferred requirements, right? Makes sense. I totally understand that. Like it's like graduating. You graduate from school, and the job that's entry level says you need 5 year experience. Like, what kind of crap is that? You know what I mean, right? Like, I'm sure you experienced that before. You saw that, and you're like, well then, how the heck I get a job? So, yeah, that's because that's really preferred qualification. When it comes to sponsoring someone for immigration, it has to be minimum qualifications because otherwise, the Department of Labor and USCIS is going to send you RFE or audit to say, you aren't you? It seems like you're trying to cool off people from US citizens or residents from actually applying. So you don't want that kind of notification, all right? Not to waste your time. Um, let's see. All right, so happy to answer your questions. So I just did a quick run through, but if you're on LinkedIn or you're watching this later and you're interested in how to get in contact with Ting Law Group, you can go to freevisaquiz.com, answer a few questions there, or go to our website greencardguys.com, and you'll after you complete the form, at least on our main website greencardguys.com, it'll redirect you to our calendar. So we make it quite easy. Okay, now we have changed it a bit. I said our team was going to change it yesterday, but um, should be sometime starting today. If you're asking how much does it cost, we normally do not charge for initial session. Okay, but at the very least, when you schedule with our team, pre-qualify you for its session with attorney, we will charge this amount. Okay, just keep that in mind. And really, that's really just because some people, um, some people don't show up, and that's rude, right? We don't we have limited spots for people to take advantage of this, utilize this session at no cost to you. So keep that in mind. Okay, I'm gonna block this person because that I don't know why he's commenting that. Okay, so sounds good. If you have any questions, keep dropping a question in the chat box, and I'll get to you soon. And all right, folks on LinkedIn, thank you very much. I'm going to move this out. Y'all have a good day from LinkedIn. Okay. All right, folks. I don't know who that guy was, but that guy was nuts. Okay, let me go back up here. All right, so how y'all doing today? All right, thanks for joining. If you appreciate the way I share information, please go ahead and give us a follow down, up, or below. Greatly appreciate it. All right, let's see. What y'all want to know about? How much is fee increase now for green card applications? All right, let me pull it up on my Google spreadsheet. All right. Yeah, right now it's 1760 if you enter with a visa or qualify for exception. Let me put on my one of my chats here. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the key thing about if you're applying for residency based on immediate relative, for example, or whether you're filing for adjustment of status in general, actually, it's going to be okay. Where's my calculator? 1440 plus. Okay, calculator. I want to get accurate numbers here, just in case I flub it. Okay, 1440 for the adjustment status plus another 260 for the work permit. Okay, 260 is going to be a new fee. They don't charge work permit right now before April 1st, 2024. That's when it's going to be effective. That is not an April Fool's joke. It's going to happen. Fees are going to increase. Okay. Now they do charge for work permit renewals for other scenarios, for example, or just work permit, like for debt people who have DACA. But when it's based on immediate relative, they don't charge for that. Okay, but they will now. So that right there is 1,700. Now the I-130 is going to be 675. So let me add that. Okay, so that's about 2,375. So if you enter with a visa or if you qualify for an exception, lawyers will recommend to apply for everything all at once, which we recommend too. Because, for example, one of our fastest cases that we got approved based on marriage and they entered a visa was 2 months. And we just got that about a month ago. All right. So that's 2,375. USCIS does not accept payment plan. Okay. You got to pay that all up front. Now, our law firm, we actually accept payment plan. Many other law firms do not. Some ask for whatever the full amount is. They ask for half up front, the other half at the time of filing. So if you're like, we need to file in 1 month, then could be a big chunk all at one time. Now, some of y'all can afford it, some can't. So you just have to know that kind of information before you get yourself into the situation. Now, of course, for us, we don't force you to like have us to file your case in 30 days. That's up to you. We offer three service levels, three service plans. Light, we file in 90 days. Pro 60 days, or Max plan in 30 days. Now, of course, if someone says, I want to sign up for Pro, does that mean you're going to wait all the way to the 60th day to file? No, if you give us everything we need, it could be, for example, like the 40th day. We're not going to hold your case up all the way until the 59th or 60th day. And then like, okay, now we file. We don't operate like that. As soon as we get everything from you that we need from a proven checklist, we'll get going. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let me hop over here and make sure I got some more. Hey, what's up, Tony? Good to see you. Hope you're doing better now today after the Super Bowl. All right, Haroon, let's see. You want to know if you want to know your wife lives in the US. She submitted your case petition June last year. Your case is reviewed, but USCIS in October last year said still waiting for approval like 9 months ago. Yeah, I mean, I don't really understand what your question is, to be honest, but sounds like you're probably just frustrated in general about your processing time, Haroon. So you gotta go to USCIS.gov or Google search USCIS, submit inquiry or inquiry tool, and so see if you based on your receipt date if they're going to even let you submit inquiry. But based on the dates you told me, they likely won't let you submit inquiry. And then you wonder, well, like, okay, let me just call in. You're gonna waste your time, honestly. Calling in there, like USCIS hotline, it's basically they like have freaking strict defense security, like have a freaking auto bot that it's even difficult for me to bypass. So there's some magic words we have to say, allegedly. So try info passing, I suppose, or something. But there's no point because when you call in, they usually would just tell you, yeah, you got to wait X time to file inquiry. And so they're just trying to reduce the number of inquiries. Um, so hopefully it helps. Yeah, Harun, you mentioned California Service Center. That doesn't matter. That And even if like your spouse lives in Texas, it doesn't mean it's going to be a Texas Service Center. Unfortunately, it does not matter where you live. It's randomly assigned, not based on where you live. Alrighty, Crystal on TikTok. You're waiting for your permanent residence. It's been over a year. And can you travel in USA? You're in Texas. Hey, good to see you. I'm in Houston myself. Where were you at in Texas? Okay, so can you travel? Yes, you can. Even if you overstayed your visa, you can still travel in the U.S. Fortunately, the Real ID Act, that law is not taking effect until, let me see if I can pull it up. It's very important that y'all know this. I'll need to record a video separately about this, but there's an FAQ about this. Essentially, it's trying to force this federal law is trying to force people to get certain specific identification. Okay, it's taking effect May 7th, 2025. So you got a little over a year. Okay. So you can check this out. Let me see if I can drop this into our comment section, at least on the other channels. I can't do that on TikTok. Okay, there we go. It goes through. All right, so hopefully that helps. But yeah, for now you can. It's just don't go within 100 miles of a border, U.S. and Canada or U.S. and Mexico. For example, because there could be a border checkpoint. And I've had clients where they come to us, hired us after the fact, and they unfortunately went through a border checkpoint, and it was not on purpose. They didn't want to. They were supposed to go like, I don't know, was it was like I-20 in Texas from like towards Abilene or Amarillo, but because there was a roadblock or there was like what do you call it, like construction or something, they had to go south. So he went the southern way, and then unfortunately that is near the border. So so hopefully you don't get too close because that's where CBP Custom Border Protection have authority to have a checkpoint. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see here. Okay. Um, How y'all doing today? Oh, all right. Let me scroll down. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. I apologize if I skip around. It's on accident. It's because like these, especially on TikTok, it like scrolls somewhere and I get a little lost here. Okay, Zana Tool, you applied for your husband 6 months ago. First, they said that it'll let us know in 3 months. Yeah, that's all lies. Okay. I've talked to the customer service rep with USCIS before on the phone, and I asked them as a courtesy, "Hey, like, have you gotten calls about the updates on timing wise on the My USCIS account?" And they're like, "Yeah, they feel bad." Well, really, because they get a lot of phone calls about this crap. And it's not accurate. There's no way. Think about it. This is the United States of America. You think we got our shit together? Come on. This is not like suddenly they got it all together. No way. No, no, no. That's not how the US government works. Plus, USAS, you may think like, oh, my friend got approved so easily. My uncle, my tia got my abuelo, primo, like cousins, my family members got all approved easily. That doesn't mean it's gonna be easy for you if that's the case. It's just not it's not apples to apples, unfortunately. Even especially even depending on field office across the country or service center, and then depending on timing, like it's not like just because someone files in February doesn't mean like, oh, February is a great month, I'm going to get approved quickly. No, that's not how it works. It's just completely random. So sorry to say, but don't put money if you bet in Vegas or something. Don't put money on that my USCIS account timing. Hey, what's up, Cassidy? If that's how I pronounce your name. Do I practice in Florida? I don't have a license for Florida, the state itself, but fortunately, a license in Texas. I have license in Texas, so I can practice immigration law anywhere, wherever you live. It could be outside the United States as well. But if you need someone specifically in Florida, so you can see someone face to face, send us a DM. Let me know. I'm happy to, with our network of attorneys that we know because we're in certain groups and associations. We're happy to connect you. Okay. Juvie. Juvie case I-130 takes more than 2 years. It's normal. Is that normal? No, not necessarily, but unless it's like a sibling type petition, like a F family preference category, then yeah, it's normal. But if you mean immediate relative cat relationship, no, that's not normal. Emmy, thanks for asking. She asked, where can she book a consultation? So the first step is going to our website, greencardguys.com. And you can go to like on YouTube and Facebook. Let's see if I can share this with you. Here we go. And go to contact us, okay? Greencardguys.com. Click on option one to verify now. And our team, just answer a few questions, and then our team will, who cares team specialists, they're not attorneys, they are trained pretty much as if they are attorneys because we want to advocate for people. Um, and then you'll talk with them. They'll pre-qualify you for a session with one of our premier attorneys at no cost to you. Well, I keep saying that, but I know we're changing our process that it could be this much, okay, just for that session. It's really because some people no show, and it's rude, right? So, um, I mean, we have limited spots, so let's see here. Hey, Hair Paradise, thanks for sharing the live show. Okay, do New Zealand see that you stayed in USA when applying for their visa? Hey, Farm Girl, I'm not exactly sure. You're saying that you're from New Zealand, and I don't know why they would care if they know you overstayed in America or not. Um, Maybe you have a follow up. You can rephrase your question so I can understand better, if you don't mind. Natalia Acosta, sí, hablo español poquito. Mi equipo habla español mejor de yo. Okay, did I say that okay? All right. Necesito practicar cada día. All right, Sean or Shan, did your biometrics on no you did your biometrics on November 15th, so was that 3.5 months ago? Still no response. Is it normal processing time AOS? Well, I mean, if you're saying like normal in terms of like 2023 processing times, I would still say it's normal. But even though I mentioned like, yeah, we got one case approved recently in 2 months time, I would argue that's not normal. That's great, but that's not normal. So meaning like a lot of people should not be assuming that a case could be approved in less than 6 months. But we've had several, majority of our cases marriage based approved in less than 6 months last year, 2023. I have no idea if they're going to continue that trend this year. But so far, so good. That's what it seems like. And you might get your I mean, so the normal thing to expect now is the work permit or maybe the advanced parole if you applied for that. But hey, some of our clients, the past year have received the resident card, and so that means who cares about the work permit? You don't need that anymore. Let's see. Oscar asked, I'm not sure if I can know the answer to this or understand your question. Is it true that there is no law that says anyone needs to be documented? Um, yeah, I don't know what exactly you mean by that. Because someone who's undocumented or overstayed their visa can still get legal status in America. There could be a couple extra steps, but it's still possible. Tanya, thank you so much for asking. What is the probability? This is something important everyone should know. Um, what is the probability that your green card application will be approved without the COVID vaccine? It will likely be denied, 99.9%. Even if you filed the waiver 601. So that's really a question. Did you even file the I-601? Some people don't know about that. So, so if you didn't file the I-601, then it's 100% going to be denied. But if you file the 601, but the people that have come to us and shared their denial letter, and I look at what they prepared, I'm like, yeah, of course USCIS is going to deny you. You wrote like one paragraph. So you have to. I mean, Tanya, I don't know what you wrote on your to support your not taking the vaccine because it's pretty strict based on the instructions. Now, I'm not trying to discourage anyone, of course. The waiver does cost a lot, so it's I think 900 something dollars for the 601, if I can remember correctly. But and your body, your decision. I get it. I totally get it. But um, I guess it depends what you care more about. It's just yeah, USCIS. Even though CDC does not require it in terms of passengers traveling into America, you it's still it's still required for residency purposes, for better or worse. Okay, apple pie pieces. Y'all have some funny names. Kath, thanks for the rose. Appreciate it. Do I know anything about DACA? No. The only thing I know is that nothing's going on right now. Even during this border security proposal, and that's included with this Ukraine funding for billions of dollars for Ukraine, Israel, and where else? I feel like there's another country that I'm missing here, but it's freaking frustrating. But yeah, there's supposed to be a little bit immigration benefit there, but and that was to add in 250,000 visas, extra visas for the next 5 years. And unfortunately, no, it's not per fiscal year. It's just for the next 5 years in total. So, but nothing about DACA, unfortunately. Thanks for asking. Juvie Pelly, you are saying that when you check I-130 processing time with National Center, it's 50 months. By the way, anyone that has a question, you're welcome to ask. I see Magdalena asked if you can ask. Just go ahead. You don't even have to ask if you can ask. Just go ahead and drop your question in there or type it in because by the time I finally get to your comment or question, what's it called? I get a lot of questions, so I might accidentally skip it. Okay, so I don't know. I thought Juvie Pile de Lejo. I thought I saw your other comment, but I can't find it. You just said relative. Oh, there it is. Okay, found it. You said it's been 2 years for 45. Nothing has been going on. Only case actively been reviewed. Who'd filed for you? Juvie Pile de Lejo. Is it a spouse, immediate relative? I suspect you're talking about immediate relative because you mentioned 485, but I could be wrong. Let me know. Okay, I'll be on the lookout for your follow-up comment. Let's see here. Okay, Veronica, you're filing in the 90-day window for N400. Okay, great. Should you send a new higher fee to make sure it's accepted? Hell no, because even that will be rejected if you file now, but at the higher fee. File with the fee that it says right now. Okay, if you're filing like the last day of March, um, which by the way, N400 you could do online, but even if it's like online and you file, you do what the current fee is. But if you're gonna mail it in, um, then you have to pay the new fee. Even because by the time they receive it, it's gonna be April, April 1st, April 2nd. So just timing wise, keep that in mind. Okay. Okay, Smiley. Good afternoon. Is it okay for undocumented immigrants to travel from New York to Florida? Hey, what's up with New Yorkers trying to travel to Florida all the time? I guess the weather is better, huh? Usually. Yeah, I was saying earlier about the Real ID Act that's not in effect until May 2025, I believe. Um, so technically you could fly, but you just want to avoid any international borders, which I guess you're going New York to Florida. You should be fine on that. Okay. Let me scroll back up. Hey Shelby, thanks for the did you give a trophy comment? Okay, cool. All right, Betty Jones, you've been waiting almost three years for your green card renewal. Now I want to make sure, Betty, for me to answer your question, is it normal? Most likely not. Now, if you're talking about the I-90 form, like pure renew residency, purely renew, like you already had the 10-year resident status, then yes, you filed the correct form. But that's what I want to make sure first. If that is the case that you filed the correct form, then 3 years is not normal. But a lot of people that message here have mentioned they're still waiting at the 2 year mark. It seems like about 24 months. So let me see if I can check that real quick. That is pretty freaking frustrating. I've never liked the processing time of I-90, but now it's even worse. All right. So anyway, in the meantime, as I'm trying to pull this up, the uh, the other situation that people get tripped up on is that when they have the 2 year status, the conditional resident status, um, they file the wrong form. They file the I-90, but they should have filed the I-71. That eventually, like, they wait, like, 1 to 2 years and like, "What the hell is taking so long?" Then they get denied. Man, by that time, that person might get referred to immigration court, so we definitely wanna avoid that. Alright, so right here, you see 9 months, but that's for people who are, let's see what I picked, 10-year renewal. That must have just changed because when I checked last week, it was not like that. But for initial issuance or replacement, like you lost it, then that's at 28.5 months. So this is a good example. If you are actually just renewing it, the 10-year card, then that's prime for a lawsuit if you're at the 3-year mark. Okay. Because right now it says 9 months. But I'm pretty sure when I checked 1 or 2 weeks ago, it was not at 9 months. Either way, it's a bunch of bullcrap. They're just playing with us here. Tony, happy Valentine's Day, brother. Yeah, I shouldn't be here, but my wife said we had a lot of leftovers, so guess we're just gonna wait to go out a different day. I didn't say no. I'm not the one that said no. Date lunch, a lunch date. Okay. Hopefully the flowers come soon. Um, we're all really depending on them. All right, TikToker, let's see. If you've been out of the US for more than 10 years, after an overstay, do you still need a waiver? No, you don't. Unless you don't need one for the unlawful presence part, but I don't know if you have other situations, other facts that give rise to what we call grounds of inadmissibility, then like I don't know, maybe like a crime from the past, then you still need a waiver 601. But hopefully you don't have to need that. Okay, Juice, what's up? You got a 751 pending. Can you travel to St. Thomas with a driver license? Um, I may have just answered that question briefly yesterday because St. Thomas, from what I understand, that's a U.S. Virgin Island. Um, I don't know, something like that. You gotta check with the airport, the airlines. Check with TSA. It was at TSA.gov, I believe. Because I don't know. Is driver license enough? I think so. Yeah, in general. I mean, I've never been to St. Thomas. I don't know, but that's a U.S. territory, so or U.S. Virgin Island. Um, let's see here. But even for 71 pending, you want to bring your resident card if you still have it, even though it may be expired, but also your receipt notice to show that your status has been extended. Okay, don't lose that thing. Scan it into your cloud folder at least. But when you're actually traveling, I would still bring it. Like, don't just bring the card and it's expired, because the person at the gate in general is going to be like, "What the hell is going on? Like, what's your status? It's expired." They're not going to know the immigration process about your receipt notice, give you extension. So you need to bring that. Now, if that extension duration is expired also, then you need to call into USCIS hotline to schedule an info pass appointment to request specifically the I-551 stamp. I-551 is AKA the green card, but it'll be in a version of a stamp. All right, so I'm probably gonna answer about 10 questions, then I gotta get to lunch with the lady. FW Bassett. Your green card interview is March 20th. Okay, congrats. That's pretty soon. I don't know if you have a question about that, but don't be scared. You do need to get prepared. All right. Don't assume that it's all gravy, all smooth. You still need to prepare, even if you don't hire a lawyer. Now, if you don't know how to prepare, then you definitely need to hire a lawyer. Okay. And most lawyers in a consultation is not going to give you the time of day and tell you how to prepare, right? Because that's part of a lawyer's service. All right. So just keep that in mind. If some because most of y'all might some of y'all might be like, well, I do want to hire a lawyer, but um, or that you just don't know what to expect, right? So yeah, some lawyers don't even offer that service. Like if you want our team, we offer that. Like I would, because I'm in Houston. Then at least if it's in Houston or Dallas, then I would go. But if it's like somewhere else, then I would just refer you to someone else. All right. And that makes me think like, yeah, there's some of y'all might not know like what's normal or not, what's normal to ask a lawyer in general if you're considering to hire immigration law firm. I'm gonna record a video and share with y'all those kind of scenarios so that you have a better idea. Okay. Um, because it just wouldn't make sense, especially if you like pay for a consultation and then you get like what do you call that? Like you forget what to ask. So I'm happy to point you in the right direction. And these questions I'll probably record as likely applicable to other scenarios, other areas of law. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, farm girls. Yeah, I was waiting for your comment here. Your brother is in the United States with expired visa. Now got a job offer in New Zealand. Do NZ see that? I don't think NZ cares, New Zealand. It's more about America cares. All right. I mean, is he a national of New Zealand? But yeah, if he's trying to come back to America in the future, that's when America cares about. Because if a person lives in America for more than 1 year without legal status, that's what we call unlawful presence, and then leaves or just puts one foot to Canada or Mexico, then that's going to trigger the 10-year bar. If it's between 180 days and less than 365 days, that's the 3-year bar. Okay, so yeah, but I don't think New Zealand cares. I mean, I don't know. I don't know New Zealand law. Uh, Tanya G89, you haven't done the way. Ooh, you haven't done the way. You gotta do the waiver. So, you're on TikTok, so there's no point in me sharing it now because otherwise I'll share my screen. But yeah, you gotta do the waiver. So look at the instructions. You're gonna see there's a line item that says like specifically what they want. Here's the deal. I'll do a quick summary if I can recall correctly. Is that if you don't want to take the vaccine for COVID, whatever your reasoning behind that, let's say like moral conviction or religious reason, then that same reason has to apply for the other vaccines that you did not take. But if the shot record, for example, because you still need to get medical, right? Just because you didn't take the COVID vaccine doesn't mean you don't get the medical exam complete, the 693 form. You still need to provide it. And here's like ultimately why. This is related to what we call health ground inadmissibility. So a lot of people talk about like crimes, arrests, but it's also the other reason to deny someone is health grounds. Okay. It's not just COVID. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully that give you some context. I'm definitely not telling you not to apply for the waiver or whatnot, or not take a vaccine or take vaccine. I'm just saying this is what's required currently. So yeah, it is about 1,000, so it's a pretty penny. So if you took so basically cut it short, like if you ask, "What would John say?" kinda deal, which I guess is everything you guys asked me, then, but yeah, if you took the vaccine for other vaccines before, but not COVID, I don't think you're gonna get that waiver approved. Just give you an example. Alright, let's see. Elizabeth. Hola, why do DACA lie? What do you mean lie? Maybe it means something else. Why do DACA on Advanced Pro so they can go abroad? Is what you mean? On vacation? Do you mean lie like LIE or something else? Oh, and maybe you're wondering like why people write certain information so they could get the Advanced Pro approved. It's because if they're married, for example, married to a U.S. citizen, then and they entered the country a long time ago without a visa or border crossing card from Mexico or Canada, then then that could be possibly a way to show legal entry in the future, okay? For adjustment of status. Stephanie, you filed your 2022 taxes late and waiting for them to post, okay? Will they matter if you're submitting 2023? I don't know what you mean by waiting for them to post. Like it's not recorded yet with IRS? That's kind of strange. That doesn't mean, yeah, that doesn't mean you cannot submit your 2023 taxes from what I understand. You can go ahead and do that. Hopefully that answers your question. But speaking of taxes, okay, right? Because the tax deadline is April 15th from what I remember. Usually it's the 15th. Sometimes I give you like 1 or 2 days grace period. I think especially during a pandemic. But if you're married, you need to check mark married filing jointly or married filing separately. Now, please do not, for the love of God, do not pick head of household. Do not pick single when you're married. Some people do that, and then we have to tell them, look, you need to go back to your bookkeeper, your accountant to amend those taxes. And sometimes people like hate us for some reason. And then, um, and then some people we have to tell them, hey, you need to show more income. And then they hate us because they're like, oh, I got to pay more taxes, John. Well, I mean, you want to sponsor your family member or not? So, of course, you got to do everything truthfully anyway. So, anyways, let's go here. Let's go. All right. How y'all doing today? Okay, Juvie Pile Delejo, you said your spouse, is your spouse, no, I should have asked this other question at the same time. Is your spouse a US citizen? Because if your spouse is a US citizen, then you definitely need to consider a lawsuit, mandamus, because it shouldn't take 3 years for the 485. TikToker, do you still need 601 for GC after an overstay, been out of the US for 10 years? Okay, I answered that already. No, you don't. Um, Stephanie asks, "Why do lawyers mail in documents instead of doing online? Because doing online sucks, to be honest. It's there's been this is like I would say like as a glitch. Sometimes when we prepare it internally our side, then we have to share a code to our client, and they have to log in, and then sometimes like information is like moved around. It doesn't happen for every case, but it's just frustrating for everyone because of course number one the client's going to be like what the hell did you do? When we're like, hey, we didn't do anything wrong here, buddy. So it's just a glitch internally. So we just used to a certain process. The workflow is easier, at least for us, to do things on paper. But because we got that down, But online, it's just a lot back and forth, and clients can just email us a scanned copy of their signature. We don't even need like the original, so it's just a lot faster when done on paper. I know it's weird. You're welcome, Juice. Thank you so much for the questions. There's a lot of them, so I can probably answer 3 more. Okay. I see Rod's channel, asked, "You applied for TPS, and while it's pending, you received EAD and worked using the card. Okay, great. Later on, your petition was denied, and you stopped working. Will that count as unauthorized work?" No, I don't think so, because you had the work permit valid at that time. And then if you get married to a US citizen in the future um and then able to adjust status, then that's going to be waived anyway if you believe it's unauthorized work. But unauthorized work is not it's not a ground of inadmissibility. I know a lot of y'all are so concerned about that, but it's okay. It's not a grounds of inadmissibility. That's the least of your worries. What I'd be concerned about for you, Ross Channel, is like, why was your petition denied in the first place? Because TPS is usually should be good to go. So you gotta check that. Is it the dates? Did you fall outside the registration window or what? I don't know, when you mean petition, I don't know if you mean, like, the TPS or something else. Oh, okay. Currently on F1 with NIW approved. Okay, congrats. Um, so I guess the TPS thing and work permit thing was a long time ago for you? Okay, well then, hopefully you can apply for adjustment. Oh, got it. Okay, gotcha. Okay, good deal. Good deal. Okay, good. Sounds like you're on the right track. Thanks for asking a question. All right, we got Bharat Kumar on YouTube. Uh, okay, I replied to you. Yes, sir. You're welcome, sir. Question on TN visa. As a Canadian citizen, can you apply for jobs in the US? And tell employers that I do not require a visa again. Well, yeah, you could hypothetically tell them that. Of course, you can work for anyone you want, but of course, make sure you time it right so then they don't fire you before you get your next visa approved. Application. So, but we encourage like people who are on TN, for example, or even another visa if they're in the United States now, if their company is willing to sponsor them for H-1B. Okay, in the meantime, and of course, a lot of people who like if you're a prospective employee for a company, many of y'all don't know the fees, but there's a lot of fees that employers have to pay related to immigration. So it can be frustrating to them. So if you have TN, they might not do H-1B, but if you're like, yo, you got good relationship with them, then that doesn't hurt to ask. In my belief, I could be wrong. I'm not in your situation, um, but yeah, even the H-1B doesn't have to be the same employer that you have right now. Um, but yeah, the job or position has to somehow match your degree. So that's a key thing. But yeah, it's all about timing. Okay, Barack, good luck on your timing. Maybe don't tell your current employer too early if you're not intending to work for them. All right. I keep messing with my glasses because these are my backup to the backup, and my son stepped on my preferred ones. Um, has that ever happened to you? I hope not. I do not wish that on anyone. Louise, why are the processing times increasing every time? Because they don't give a shit. Just, but the reality is, they keep saying like they don't have enough personnel. It's just weird. We're the freaking world superpower, but our processing times for something like a waiver before the pandemic was 8 months, but now it's like 44.5 months. And y'all, a lot of y'all commenting about like the I-90 renewal the green card is taking like 2 to 3 years. When really that's like, especially in one of those kind of scenarios, that should be like rubber stamp. So I don't know. I mean, I just think they don't care ultimately. You're welcome, Raj. Happy to help. Okay. By the way, if you appreciate the way I share information, I try to go quick. I know it might not be as in depth as you might prefer, but if that's the case, please send us a DM. Our team will send you the website and where you can schedule an appointment with our CARES team specialist. They'll make sure that we can actually help. Because some people ask us, for example, if we can help with the asylum, but we don't accept asylum cases anymore. It's been a while, so happy to refer you to a trusted attorney in our network. Okay, Nora, let's see. Nora asks, how long do I think a motion to terminate would take these days? So if you actually file the motion and let's say it's one that's not agreed upon with the Department of Homeland Security, which sometimes might be required. Like we tell our clients, like, look, if you just want us, some people are tired of waiting with the Department of Homeland Security, the government attorneys, to decide whether they're going to join our motion or not. And it's gonna take much longer, right? Like when the government attorney agrees with us, DHS, when the case is active, like we had one not this past Monday, but the Monday last week, and I coordinate with a DHS attorney like 2 weeks before that, and it took about a week to get it filed. Um, and then judge approved it like 2 days before the hearing. So it's much faster when number one, you have a joint agreement with the government attorney, and then number two, if the hearing is coming up. So if you don't have a hearing, like it's closed, admin closed, or it's or order removal from a long time ago, it's gonna take a hell of a long time. I don't know. If you file the actual motion, I would think. I mean, I don't know, but I would think at least 3 months because they have no rush. Hey, thanks for the heart. Thanks, Nora. Appreciate it. If I think that was you. But yeah, that's a tough one. I wish there was a fast track Like I could pay like $50 on behalf of our clients to get a decision sooner. That would be amazing. Like Disney, what do they call it? Genie Plus or something ridiculous now. They change the name and confuse the heck out of us. Disney parents. Um, let's see. Aurora. How long is 601A waiver taking to be approved? You've been waiting 22 months. Okay, let's check this out on the bulletin. 601 waiver grounds. Okay. So it's at the Nebraska Service Center. Yeah, it actually says online if you're on TikTok, but I'm sharing on the other screen 22.5 months. All right. So it looks like that's what you're at, 22 months. So I mean, yeah, it doesn't mean whatever it shows online on the processing time schedule doesn't mean like, okay, next week you're going to get it. But just be on the lookout for that. But I would go ahead and put in the receipt number, your receipt date, I mean, to see if it's time that finally they let you submit an inquiry. If it allows you now, today, you might as well just go ahead and submit it anyway. Okay, don't keep waiting. But then again, sometimes submit an inquiry doesn't actually do something. It may just depend on the scenario. But usually it takes they'll usually send you an email saying it'll take like 30 days to get back to you. Hey, just human. So your situation, you applied for asylum 589 form. It's been 7 years. You just keep renewing the work permit. Okay, what can you do? Now, we help with the service of filing lawsuit against USCIS for many different reasons. For your situation, just human, we file lawsuit for the purpose of getting the interview date sooner. Okay, and we've been very fortunate when it's pending for more than 4 years. We've been able to get the interview in about 1 to 2 months on average, regardless of where it's at in the country. Now, I think in maybe California could an LA office could be a lot longer in terms of like they could update us in 1 to 2 months time, but the actual interview could be 6 months later. Okay. Sometimes it just depends of a date or time just opens up. Okay. But yeah, you're 7 years. So, but we don't encourage filing a lawsuit if like you're one of those folks that just filed it to file it. Like if it's a bona fide application, you're telling the truth, and you strongly believe that you qualify for asylum, then yeah, we're happy to help you. We just feel bad for folks that, especially, may not be as confident in their claim, and they may not even have a lawyer, a lawyer to help them with their asylum case for the interview. Then we likely not encourage you to file the lawsuit. That wouldn't make sense, right? You got to be confident in your claim. That's number one. All right, let's see here. Tina, yes, we do. We call half cost because for folks that don't, so Tina Patel asked, can we help with FBI background check and also FOIA? We certainly could, but FBI background check, you could certainly do that yourself if you wanted. It honestly might be logistically easier, but you can go to Amazon and what do you call it? Google search. I mean, even if you type in fingerprint card, you could do the fingerprints yourself, or you can go to the like a local police department or sheriff department, call them first to see make sure they help with the fingerprints. But and I don't know how much they charge, maybe $15, but but you can mail it to straight to FBI. I think West Virginia or Virginia, and I think they charge $27 to process that. Okay, yeah. Are you concerned about a prior offense, maybe? And so keep in mind, folks, FBI background check doesn't cover everything. So if you're wondering like, "Oh, yeah, I think I got a traffic ticket," um, or some kind of like traffic violation, it's typically I have never seen like a municipal court or traffic violation on a FBI background check. So just keep that in mind. I do remember we had one client that I just don't understand how this is possible, but look, folks, if you have a crime or something, I understand like traffic tickets, you're not going to remember that stuff, but some kind of arrest, I would think you keep a record of it somewhere. Please do that. So if you're listening right now and you get jammed up in a situation with law enforcement, please keep record because it's difficult, And especially if like you travel for work and maybe that's when allegedly drinking and driving with your work buddies or something and out of town, you might not remember what town that was like 10, 15 years later. And so that's what happened with a client, and FBI background check didn't pick it up. So ultimately it was fine, but it's like, we want to make sure we include everything we need to. And that client was pretty insistent that it was a drinking offense. Okay. But he didn't remember where it was, where it took place. Uh, okay, Juan and Eve, you have refugee travel doc, but in November you applied for 485. Can you still use your refugee travel doc? Yeah, as far as I understand, you might want to check with your if you had a lawyer before, but as long as it's valid, okay. Just because you apply for 485, like a next application for the next step in your legal status journey, does not mean whatever you have currently or before goes away. So as long as valid. All right. Thanks so much for staying on. Whew, man. Um, a lot of great questions. I am pooped. Okay. It's Valentine's Day apparently, so I gotta get going. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for tuning in. And today's Wednesday, so I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace. Follow for more.